Welcome to the Home Services Success Stories podcast powered by Peakzi, the #1 AI platform for growing your home services business. I'm Julian Placino, your host, and we have another great show in store for you today because today we have Jason Provoncha, who is the installation and sales manager at Kabran Air Conditioning and Heating. Jason, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing today, Julian?
Doing good, doing good. Excited to get to know you and your success story as a home services leader. So let's jump in. So, Jason, tell us a bit more about your role as an installation and sales manager. And I know you oversee the warehouse as well at Cabron. Is that right?
Yes, sir, it is.
Awesome. Well, tell us about your day to day and what you own.
So daily, I'm pretty much just trying to push the salesmen, try and aim for the stars. That way we miss among them as well. I try to have my salesmen or my installers' backs no matter what happens. Stuff comes up all the time. So I just pretty much try to be that supporting role for them if anything comes up in the field. So that way they know they have somebody that they can lean on. They're not going to hit a roadblock and be able to throw their hands up. No, I try to always be that supporting role for them.
Gotcha. Well, tell us a bit about your role into this position here. Where did you come from? How did you end up here at Cabron?
I actually came from a trucking logistics company in Orlando. My father's been in the industry my whole life. My first day at kindergarten was his first day at an air conditioning company. Not his first one, but another one. So yeah, ever since I've pretty much been in school, I've been, just learning osmosis from him, air conditioning and whatnot. But yeah, I've been doing this honestly since about 2018. So I haven't been doing it a long time, but I've been here enough to be very familiar with it, have my finger on the pulse of what's going on around here. So
Okay. Yeah, awesome. So, kind of an interesting background there. So, what do you think drew you to Cabron? What do you think you love about it the most?
it was a really family, the ownership, the group of guys, the core group that we had here, that was what lured me in. And we try to still operate. Yeah, we were bought out. The Cabrons no longer own us, but we still try to run this place as a family owned and family run business. We still have that feeling around here, and we still kind of have that hierarchy too. So that way and we pass that along to the customers as peace of mind to them. So that way, if they know they have a problem, we still handle things in-house. We're still people you can pick up the phone and talk to. And that's the most important thing, I feel like, just that conversation with a lot of customers, whether things are going awry, whether things are going great, that conversation can get you, a long ways.
Awesome. I think that's great. So, well, tell us a bit more about Cabron in terms of what do you think the company does so well? Because as you know, there's so much competition. There's a lot of other, heating and AC companies out there. So what do you think uniquely allows Cabron to stand out as a home services leader?
Biggest thing is just what I kind of touched on. We really strive in having that kind of family owned and operated business still, that feeling around here. But and then on that note as well, just taking care of our customers. If we take care of our customers, look out for them, whether it be referrals, whether it be repeat business, they kind of take care of us on this, one hand washes the other essentially.
Gotcha. So it's all about the customers making sure that they're getting taken care of, and that's really great to hear. So
Of
let's talk
course.
a bit about talent, culture, and hiring, because as you know, like your brand is your people, right? So
Yep.
what do you think Cabron does? How do you think about Cabron as a place to work, and what truly sets your team and culture apart?
Um, Man, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but when I do the interviews, that family run business, we're still wrench turning technicians. We're not somebody where we try to get our foot in the door and then try to pressure you into signing on the dotted line just to kind of get a sale. We believe that if we take care of you, still a wrench turning outfit. If we come out there, take care of you, fix the problems, when it comes time to replace your equipment for that big dollar ticket item, you'll give us the opportunity because we took care of you all that time. So pretty much just to sum it up, man, we're not trying to hard sell the customer all the time. We're just looking to take care of, back to what you said, take care of the customer, making sure that we address their needs. So that way, when the time comes and is a bigger need, they'll consider us for it. Because, if we're that company where we just try to get in there and take Mrs. Jones' last dollar every time we're in there, she's
Mhm.
not going to want to deal with us anymore. So then essentially we would lose that opportunity, on a small service ticket we would lose the big install ticket because of that. So
Yep. Always treating your customers right, and I
it really
appreciate
always
you.
comes back down to that. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, well, think about this because there's obviously a very big talent war when it comes to home services. So let's say that top talent's listening to the conversation right now. What do you think makes Cabron a great place to work?
We really take care of our employees. We always are there. You can always call us, whether you're stuck on a job, whether you get a flat tire on the way to work. We'll always come to help you out. We actually, Lou, our general manager, had to go meet an installer on his way to work on Tuesday because he had a flat tire. So it's just the small things like that, and more or less knowing that we have your back. With the industry constantly changing, evolving, new stuff rolling out, we're trying to stay on top of trainings. Keeping our techs, our installers always up to date on the latest and greatest, whether it be IAQ products or just new, more efficient equipment in general. We got them signed up for trainings regularly so that way they can always further their knowledge and their skill level. And then we also get them signed up for distributor events and whatnot so that way they can be introduced to kind of the new products and sometimes be given a few freebies from the distributors too. That way they can actually be a true testimonial. So when they're out there talking to Miss Jones and whatnot, they can tell Miss Jones, yeah, I have this product and this product works for me for this, that, and the other reason. It's not just word of mouth, they can actually, it's a true testimonial. And that holds a lot more weight than, well, I've dealt with these customers in the past and they say they like it. So,
Being a real like product of the product and having firsthand experience with it. I think that's great.
of
Go
course.
into a bit more about the training piece because a lot of technicians they want to be upskilled. They want to know that if they go to a place, they're not just stagnant. So tell us a bit more about the kind of training, how often you do it, what are the resources? Tell us a bit more.
Yeah, so our trainings, they're really done through the distributors themselves, whether we go in person or whether they're on in our conference room on the TV and we have the whole group together. So that way they're all kind of bouncing ideas off each other while the training is going on as well. That's mainly how the trainings are done in that sense.
Gotcha. Okay. So if let's say a top talent's listening right now and they're kind of weighing out your company versus everything else, like what's the one reason you think they should come work at Kabran?
We're still a wrench turning outfit. We want you to go out there and fix that unit just like you were told to do. We don't want you to go there and try to sell Miss Jones, the kitchen sink and everything, Go out there and take care of the customers. We want you to be able to go to sleep at night. A lot of the industry is evolving, it seems, with a lot of the companies becoming a little bit more sales technician wise.
Hmm.
Yeah, we don't want that. We want our technicians to look themselves in the mirror at night and be able to go to sleep easy. Not feel guilty because they took Miss Jones' last dollar. Miss Jones isn't going to be able to eat and do everything now. No, we want that technician to look themselves in the mirror at the end of the night, knowing everything was done ethically, everything was done how they approve as well, and they could stand by pretty much everything that they did. The last thing we want is a technician, racking their brain, man, I shouldn't have done that, this, that, and the other. I feel bad because I did this. We don't want that. So that's the biggest thing, just being able to look ourselves in the mirror and know we did right by the customer.
I love it. So leading with ethics first and making sure you do right by the customer. So
Yes, sir.
let's talk a bit more about kind of like your own leadership philosophies because you have a very integral role in growing the team and leading the team. So you started your career in the industry as an installation coordinator and
Yes, sir.
worked your way up into leadership. So how did learning the business from the ground level, especially understanding installations, codes, and inspections, shape the way you lead your team?
It really helped me gain the trust of my guys because I've kind of went an alternative route. A lot of the guys have their experience in the field and they kind of move up. I was kind of the opposite. I was in the office and kind of progressed through the ranks that way. So it gained the confidence in the way of if my guys are in a bind out there, they can call me. I have most of the answers on how to get stuff done right. Maybe not the technical way, but at least the final result way. If the codes change between all the municipalities. If you do an install in Cocoa Beach, it may vary between the one done in Palm Bay, between the one done in Melbourne, just these cities because we have to pull a permit for every job. And then that permit needs to be inspected by the municipality or the building inspectors to have it closed out. The building inspectors make sure everything's brought up to code, installed correctly, safely, and that way. So that's where I can come in handy. If hey, you know what, I forgot, this has an FPL box on the wall. FPL doesn't even use these anymore. What do I do? They can kind of call me and I can walk them through that.
Interesting. Okay, so you're kind of like air support then. So it's like
Almost, yes.
you kind of help remove the obstacles for the guys in the field, and it actually makes sense. For they're the technical experts. You have the experts that do the technical training, but you really complement them in terms of support, and that's why that makes sense. Okay, awesome.
Yep. And if my
So
guys are out there in
mhm,
the field and if they do an install and if I know it's to code and if we fail, then at that point I'm backing them up. I got their backs. I'm calling the building inspector, not more or less being disruptive, but just kind of asking questions. Hey, how is this supposed to be done? It's supposed to be done right. That's what I thought. Can you reevaluate? I have a picture here of this job and it was done like that, but we failed. So more or less just having, like we said, that conversation. A lot of human mankind is afraid of that conversation, or else they just don't want to have it. People don't like to get told no. Me, that's also kind of how I got where I am. I'm not afraid of that word no, you know. I'll try to bring you a problem in the left hand, but a solution in the right. So that way I'm not the problem myself. And that's kind of how I gain my guys' respect as well. You know, they fail an inspection, they take pride in their work. They really do. So when that comes back to them that they failed, it hits their ego a little bit, you know, that's just, man, how did I mess that up? So when I can go back to them and go, hey, look, you know, you did it correctly. They overlooked something, you know, maybe the inspector was having a bad day that day. So we're all humans. We all make mistakes. So just knowing that I have their back, even the small stuff like that, that's what kind of gets me the respect of my guys and goes a long way.
Awesome. And you can tell it that you have a very strong, like optimistic mindset, right? So you've said that your growth has come from taking ownership beyond your role, solving problems, supporting the team, staying accountable for results. So as Kabran continues to grow, how do you encourage that same ownership mindset with the people that you lead?
Take ownership with your decisions, you know, just like don't be afraid to get told no. And if you have a bad decision, if you make the wrong decision, that's not something bad. It's not something where you're going to get reprimanded. That's a learning point. You know, that's something that you can learn and grow from at that point. That's the biggest thing that I normally try to take away when it comes to growth. We're all going to make mistakes. We are all humans. The fact that you can keep yourself up, pick yourself up and keep moving forward and kind of just, you know, learning from that, that sets you apart from the rest.
I think that's a great point. You know, the whole failing forward and fail fast so you can learn faster. So
Exactly. Yep.
I think that's great. So so Jason, let's shift gears a bit. So this podcast is powered by Peakzi. You're a Peakzi customer. So so tell us a bit about your experience with Peakzi. How has it helped Cabron?
So Peakzi, we're still pretty new with it right now. We're still trying to take advantage of it the most we can. It's really helped us expanding our online presence between all of the AI chat bots, I'll call them, that are so prevalent and coming up here and you know everywhere. The chat GPTs and all of them. Essentially, if a customer is asking questions on that, they don't know where to go. Peakzi kind of helps us become more of a lamppost, I guess, in that sense. We're a beacon. So that way it's, you know, the customer's almost pointed to us. I've been through kind of the background of Peakzi a little bit, uploaded a lot of our pictures of our teams and whatnot, installs we have. So if customers have questions along these lines, I believe Peakzi can almost kind of show them, you know, the human touch of Cabron. You know, hey, here's the real work that they do. Here's the people that will be coming to your door and whatnot. So that's kind of nice. Essentially, just long story short, it's helped us kind of just spread the word out of Cabron and just kind of make ourselves more visible.
Makes it more visible. Okay,
Yes,
great.
sir.
So how would you explain to another home services leader what Peakzi is?
I would say Peakzy helps your visibility with AI companies because these AI brands essentially it will almost prop up a website that the AIs go to for your information. So that way they're not maybe going through our websites are tailored for customers, you know, people. People go to it, they're tailored for that. Peaksy's website is tailored for AI. So it has what AI is looking for specifically. Whereas ours is more color, you know, our human website that normal people go to. It's got colors, it draws your attention, you know, this, that, and the other. The Peaksy one, straight to the point, letters, words on the screen, just something the AI can grab that knowledge and information, and that way it can just pass it to that customer and let them know pretty much, hey, this is Cabron and this is what they're about.
I think you just explained it one of the best ways I think I've ever heard it explained, right? So it's like, you know, the regular website, it appeals to persons, to human beings, to like the whole visual aspect, user experience of design. And the AI website, of course, appeals to the LLMs, your ChatGPT, your Gemini, your Grok. How are people searching for information nowadays? And that's what Peakzy does. It helps position you to make sure that you are searchable on these AI engines. So I don't know if this is you or your marketing team, but do you have some experience with the AI visibility tracker?
Not too much. Well, honestly, if you tell me a little bit about it, I probably do. I've had my finger almost in every pot here. So I've done
Gotcha.
a little
Okay.
bit of everything. So I might be familiar with it and not realize it.
Okay, yeah. So your AI visibility tracker essentially it helps you see how visible you are when it comes to Peakzi showing or when it comes to AI search. So it's the dashboard that kind of shows the kind of behind the scenes with it. So
Yes.
have you experienced that at all or?
Yep, poked around with that as well. I'm also constantly poking around on the competition. The most important thing that I really like from Peaksy is when we're setting our specials, we can find out what more consumers are looking, or not consumers, but the people in this area are Googling when it comes to HVAC. Like, for example, I was just on there this morning setting specials for next month. More in this area that we're in right now, maintain and repair are some of the biggest things that people are looking for when it comes to HVAC. So we kind of tailor our specials to what people are looking for. There's no need in running maybe an install special in the middle of winter when people aren't looking for that. So it kind of lets you know, just a good analogy, it kind of lets you know what fish are running so you know what bait to use. I've got the maintenance fish running right now, so I'm gonna put maintenance bait out there to try to reel them in. Couple service fish running, so I'm gonna put some service bait out there to try to reel them in now. I'll hold my install bait until maybe the summertime when peak summer, it's 90 degrees outside. People are dying from heat. They need new air conditioning. That's when I'll try maybe save that bait for when them fish are running. But that's the best way that I can say it.
Jason, you're killing it with these metaphors, man. I'm digging it. No, basically what you said is that Pixie shows you what the market demand actually is, not based on guessing, but based on data, and therefore you can tailor what your offers are based on what the customers are looking for. So I think that's really
Correct.
awesome.
That's one of the
Um,
biggest tools that I've really liked from Peakzi so far. And mind you, that's only one small tool that they have available in the huge tool belt that they offer. But that's something that holds a lot of value. And it's something, initially you can start taking advantage of that. Some Peakzi stuff, you kind of got to familiarize with yourself, maybe build the data. No, this has it already for you. So you can pretty much sign up with Peakzi and get that information right away and start capitalizing it and utilizing it.
awesome. Well, before we start to close out the conversation, anything else that you want to share about Pixie, about any features, anything else that kind of wowed you about the product?
Yeah, I did think it was pretty cool. Peaksy also puts a lot of weight into reviews when it comes to employee shout outs and company shout outs specifically. So it can actually rank all the technicians in this area based off their reviews. So I can go on Peaksy and I can see, the top 10 technicians in this area. And again, it's based off who was shouted out in a review. So that's something that's really cool I never even thought about. So when our guys kind of start making that list, that'll be some bragging points right there. But it also kind of tells you who you want to hire from other companies. That's on the other hand, it's a lot of cool stuff that you never even realize that, they have and that's out there yet. So,
Yeah, the whole talent piece. It's something for your technicians to strive for because it's kind
yep.
of like this real-time market like leaderboard. And also it's a great recruiting tool to see who else is out there that's doing great that you can recruit to your organization. So
Yep.
I think
And
that
in that same sense, Peaksy also rates your company. So not only do they rate the technicians in reviews, but they'll rate your company, price point, how your price point is based off reviews, quality of work, etc. So yeah, there's a different bunch of different fields where Peaksy will also let you know your organic ranking, against all your competition based off what customers are saying. And that's what holds weight too. So
yeah, it kind of helps you create like a SWOT analysis. Like how do you compare to your competition? Where are you strong? Where do you need to improve? So
yes,
it kind
sir.
of helps you kind of diagnose how best to optimize the business.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah. Well, Jason, let's close a little bit to get to know you more. We like to end these conversations with a bit of a fun kind of lightning round. So you ready to jump in?
Let's do it.
Awesome. So what would you say is the funniest or strangest customer moment or call that you've ever experienced?
Got a couple of them. One of them, I was sitting here. I had been here for maybe a year or two. All of a sudden, we saw a lady across the street. We've got big reflective glass windows in the front of our building, and we're in the heart of downtown Cocoa Beach. So if you're outside of our building, it just looks like big mirrors. Inside, no, they're windows. So we're sitting here one day, and we see a lady kind of staggering across the street, and she's trying to get in car doors, multiple car doors, and they're all locked. It's like, what's going on here? So eventually, I kind of went out there. It's like, hey, ma'am, can I help you? Turns out she had a little too many cocktails at happy hour at the local bar. So, just to be the kind, friendly, local owned, family owned company we are, I hopped in the golf cart we had, went and picked her up across the street, drove her to her house, which was a few blocks up the road. And we got her home safely. Turns out, after I found out her address, looked her up, she was a customer of ours. So, The way
Get
I
out
see it,
of
it's like, yep.
town.
So that
Oh,
was
that's
kind of nice.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's great, like brownie points right there, man.
Exactly. And then another funny
Oh
thing is I
man.
was in a meeting in our old GM's office and he's got those windows in his office. So we're sitting there having a meeting and then all of a sudden we see a guy kind of out of our peripheral skate by on his skates, on the sidewalk, stops, busts a U-turn, comes back, looks at himself in the mirror and starts readjusting his thong he's wearing
Oh no.
on his roller skates. So yes.
Oh man.
So it was pretty distracting while we're having a meeting nonetheless. So, but there's been a few comical things just being in the hard downtown Cocoa Beach, having these, reflective windows in front of us. We see stuff all the time that leaves you shaking your head and smirking. So,
Oh man, those are really great stories. Jason, the expert and leader in home services and the Good Samaritan. I love it.
yep,
It's
yep.
awesome. What's something interesting about yourself that most people don't know about?
I actually worked almost every position in a restaurant. Yep, between high school and college, that's kind of how I worked my way, kind of paid my bills and whatnot. So I've done everything from dishwasher, salad bar to cook, everything. So, bartender, server, all that stuff. That's where I feel like learned a lot of my customer service and how
Hmm.
to, more or less talk to people and listen. But that's something a lot of people don't realize. You could put me in the kitchen and I can whip up almost anything. So
Oh,
just
that's
don't let my
awesome.
wife
Yeah.
see this.
I've been feeling you're going to be getting a lot of calls and requests about that. That's awesome. That's really cool to know. And I can see how that like all that hospitality it, like builds your communication, your customer service skills, and all that translates. I think that's awesome.
It really
Um,
translates in the fast pace, being especially in the kitchen, fast pace, your orders don't stop until they stop. They
yeah.
just keep coming in, keep coming in, keep coming in. So it kind of teaches you, all right, when it's hitting the fan, it's almost the best, another analogy. The best analogy I can give you is it's like the beach, the waves will constantly come, but you will eventually get a break in those waves. Same here in this industry, especially in the summertime in Florida, our phones will ring off the hook. Ring, 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 ring. We'll be on, everybody will be on the phone and it will still be ringing. But
Yeah.
just know, I always tell people that start, it's like, yep, it's going to get like that. Don't get overwhelmed. Just know it's just like the waves in the ocean. You'll eventually get your break. That way you can paddle out there and start catching waves. But that will be your pretty much, your calm period. So, but it will come. It's not always balls to the wall, pedal to the metal.
Great way to look at it. That's really awesome. So, what do you think is the future of home services in one word or phrase?
Thriving.
Nice. And why do you believe that?
Because it's going to do nothing but grow. It's going to be do nothing but get more competitive, and it's going to be more needed. Seems like it's getting hotter out there. Seems like it's getting colder out there in some places.
Hmm.
All these home services are going to do is just start thriving on this right here. With the technology increases and advancements coming out, it's more and more stuff that not we want to sell to the customer, but that we want to inform the customer about. I try to tell my salesmen all the time, don't make up your mind for the customer. If, give them a quote for it. If you don't give the customer a quote for that certain item, you're essentially making up your mind for the customer. They don't want it. So just at least give them the quote. You're not trying to sell it. You're trying to inform the customer at this time, because what they'll do is they might not be interested in that IAQ, that indoor air quality product. So send it to them anyways. What it might do is just get the gears going behind their head. Might get them, pique their interest. They start doing a little bit more digging. Then they realize, you know what? I could actually really benefit from something like this. So more or less just educating the customer. It brings you a long way with them as well. Shows that you're knowledgeable, you can be trusted, but that again, we're not trying to sell you hard. We're just trying to inform you. I think you can benefit this, when we're talking to the customer, when we get to your house, hey, you got allergy issues? Anybody in here sneezing? You got, how's your air quality, whatnot? So that's just something, you can kind of let them know. Like you said people were sneezing, your son's got bad allergies. Well, this item might help. I'm not trying to let you know you need to get it today, but kind of do your research. You got any more questions? Let us know. We can email you more literature, send you anything you want. But yeah, educating the customer goes a really long way, and I feel like that's the most important thing because educating the customer can essentially get you that sale and just start, getting the wheels going. And it could end up getting you more than what you bargained for.
Jason, I love your energy. I love your passion. And the word that I got from that also is thriving. Home services is going to be thriving. So, final question here for you. You seem to strike me as someone who approaches their work very meaningfully and purposefully. So, what kind of legacy do you want to leave behind in home services and in your career overall?
I just want to leave a proud legacy, something where my kids, when they know, when they hear my name or so when they say my name, people aren't, oh, that guy, just something where it's proud, I want to pass on, a good name, a good legacy to my children.
Awesome. Well, I think you're certainly doing that already, Jason. So,
Thank you.
this has really been fun to get to know you, Kabran, your success story. So, close us out and share with our viewers and our listeners how to connect with you, find you on social, visit the business.
Yeah, you can visit us on www.kabran.com. We got a website there. We've got an Instagram. We got a Facebook. We're constantly putting stuff out on Facebook. We got blog posts. And again, in that blog, we try to educate y'all as well, to let you know a little bit of information about, and more or less not toot our own horn, but just maybe give you information about what's out there, what's changing, and what maybe you can take advantage of. But yeah, you could reach us on the phone. You could go on our website, chat with us, whatever the case may be. If you're passing by and if you look hammered trying to get into a bunch of cars, we might give you a ride home. You never know. So, yeah.
Love it, Jason. And we'll make sure to have all your contact information in the show notes. So, this was really great getting to know you. Thank you for your time today.
Hey, thanks, Julian. Appreciate all y'all.
Well, everyone, that is it for today's episode. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on the next episode of the Home Services Success Stories podcast, powered by Peakzi, the #1 AI platform for growing your home services business.